raining. So we had to push this car out a little bit. It's barely getting wet on the back. We can't really like move any cars outside. Right now it's just like packed in here because we normally move like 7 or 8 cars outside so we can move other stuff around and use a lot of space. But today we're just like working in tight quarters. So we moved Olas Supra over here. So Joe is cutting off where the over fenders will go. I just wanted to see a little in action cutting. We will be back later to talk about why he cut that there and what's gonna happen. And then look at some of the nasty cuts that were underneath the skin of that fender. Oh, that poor Supra has a lot of surprises. All right, we'll be back shortly. Okay, so, oh, Jeff's running. We are back here with Chucky the Supra. So, a couple things that are just, it's sad because it's a Supra and Supras are pretty rare, pretty expensive, but like, I don't know why they didn't think about like taking their time here. Like, look at this crap. All uneven cuts. And then you come over here. Well, Joe cut this one so it's straight. But then you come over here and it's like, what the frickin', what? Why? But that's the way they did it. And that's what happened. So that's that. We're going to try and... See, the thing is this is like a... very structural part of everything because Supra doesn't have like a shock tower, so if you were to like remove some of this metal here, it's not gonna like be the end of the world, but for sure there'll be more flex on this surface here than without having, well, it's probably lost about half of its strength now because they cut halfway through it, but on my car there's no way I was cut that off unless well, unless I had built, you've seen cages where it has like a large piece of DOM tubing that comes up here and then it ties into the cage there. So then the cage is now holding this in place, not just the frame rail and some of this other side metal here, but is what it is. We didn't get to build the whole car, but we cut off some of that other metal. Our plan is to, well, as of FD rules, from this part of the subframe back is fair game, but this part of the subframe forward, you can't reinforce anything unless like you're replacing some metal that got ruined in an accident and you're trying to salvage a chassis that's already like been competing in FD or whatever, and you don't want to just throw it away and so much money to start over. So we're gonna plate a little bit right here, just real small strip so we don't like interfere with rules or anything. It's still weaker here because it's wrinkled and you know, had an accident from some old crash with Osbo at some point. I don't know when or where, but it might have been Vegas 2010 probably. This whole it's kind of crazy that they don't sell these pieces anymore, but this entire panel has been replaced. Is a new Toyota rear quarter. This whole piece is new. You can see some of these welds here. This whole back piece was new because he just like backed it in, and I don't know. That's where it got the name Chucky, because he kept, you know, piecing it back together like Chucky the doll. Anyways, we're gonna fill this gap here where it's like they just didn't finish it, so we're gonna make this, you know, hole here, reinforce the other side, then we're gonna make a new base plate here, and then we're gonna build a structure back here that will hold the fuel cell and be structurally sound enough to have like the jacking point of the back of the car and build the bash bar off of it. Pretty similar to Jeff's Supra. You guys, if you watch that video, the interview of what makes you drift with Jeff, you could see that back section. Hey, shut up, Jeff. just like a minute. Okay, and so we will update you more on that soon when it happens, but Joe has cut the rear overs off, cut this back part off because it was all mangled back here, cut this one off. We still got cleanup work on both sides. Now he's gonna make a smoke block in that triangle hole there, right here, because once you start making smoke, it's gonna find its way. So gonna block that off to help a little bit. And then we'll be doing tube work in the back. So that's it for right now. More updates soon. All right, guys. Say bye to the beard. And the kid. Yeah, angry beard. This car's going on the rat diet. Yeah. Yeah. Hey guys. So today we're gonna give you an update on the work we've been doing on Ola's car. A little bit of work happened yesterday. Last time you guys saw it, we had cut the back off and we're talking about what we were gonna do. These are some rear overs that I had from Pro2 last year. So we haven't fitted on here, not perfectly, but just blue tape so we have an idea of where the rear bumper is gonna go. Bumper's connected in there. We have cut away majority of the back metal here. The car had been in many accidents, so right here is pretty bent and pretty messed up, but we're able to get some of the bolts through it. We kind of had to hammer that metal and make it okay. This side's a little better condition. Those bolts connect in. So the bumper is held in. That's where it'll sit, give or take a little bit of more tweaking with this bent metal back here. So then we did this structure that's like the main support and a jacking point. The fuel cell will sit inside of here. We'll make another little skeleton, and then the underhang for where the fuel cell will go. And then we're gonna make some support that comes over to here that holds this up, because you see how flimsy it is. After that all happens, then we'll make a bash bar on the back. Joe just brought the hatch down so that we can fit that and the taillights before we kind of make that little support I was just talking about right here, because we need to make sure everything lines up best we can. The car's bent, like we had said. See, it has like a kink even here, because well, see the weld marks right here? This whole like rear quarter has been replaced, and I don't know how bad it went up or down in this area. Kind of like right here has moved forward, so see that wrinkle there? It's probably up maybe, but then at the same time it looked like it was like kind of sitting like down. So we're gonna try and find out if we can kind of like tweak it enough to look straight. Obviously it's never gonna be perfect, but do our best here. Here, should I grab this side of it? Yeah. So we're gonna throw this on. And then we probably gotta push the car forward so we can like step further back, get a good look at it, and put the fenders on, the taillights on, and then stare. See, right now it looks like this right side of the car is kind of downward slope. I don't know that it might be the other side. I don't know. So we got to figure that out. Make it look somewhat straight or mostly straight in the back, and then we will make that support and then kind of hold it under tension in the right spot so that it's happy. And then we'll make the bash bar, then we wait for the fuel cell to show up and other stuff. So it's kind of what we'll do. We'll update you at the end of the day. All right, so next up on Ola's car for today is bodywork, because we got some of the body kit, we don't have all of it yet, and engine work on the exhaust side. So we got some boxes that came in from Drift Motion. We have this intake manifold from Drift Motion. Exhaust manifold. Hey man, it is. Got this exhaust manifold from Drift Motion. This came with a different flange for the wastegate, so we're gonna cut that off and weld on a new flange for Turbo Smart wastegate. We prefer Turbo Smart wastegates here. Never had an issue with them, and they work under all conditions of racing. So,
all season, dude.
All season, yeah. So, and we put a lot of heat through them, and they seem to just take the abuse. So what we're gonna do is weld a V-band flange on here for the Hypergate 45, and then Jeff is going to install that. He also has a box of goodies here from Drift Motion. Gates RPM timing belt, some new clips for his different injectors he got. Oh, there's the different injectors. So he's gonna be running, basically he's running 1700s, new clips, Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. We're gonna put a new timing belt, tensioner pulley, but also he's gonna put this tensioner pulley bracket. This is a Titan one, so it's like a little bit more robust than this cast piece that you'd see. Let me get this out. The cast piece here is, they're known to crack sometimes, so you get a billet one. That's what this one is, and then you just switch the pulley over. So we're gonna do that, and then for some reason he didn't get a tensioner. We have tensioners here, so we'll put a new tensioner. Then power steering cooler, it looks like. We gotta mount that. And then he has some boxes that didn't come from Drift Motion, but they're under the boxes from Drift Motion. It's a BorgWarner EFR. It's only the best turbo ever. So if you guys can afford it, they're a little bit pricey because it's a race turbo, but EFR stands for engineered for race. BorgWarner EFR is what I run on my car. Whoa. Come on, man, point the camera in the right spot. But if you guys can get one of these, I would say do it. It's literally the best turbo ever. Spool's so good, so quick, and then if you on-off throttle, it recovers from like the down and then the back up of like no boost to back into boost real quick, because it has a lightweight gamma titanium impeller wheel. So there's another box. What do we have in the other box? Whoa, more BorgWarner. So I guess he has a backup, probably a good thing. So there's his backup for the season. Okay, we'll come back to that. Here's the rear overs. So we got it done with flex resin this time, which is really cool. So there's more flex in here. It's kind of hard when I only have one hand, but Joe's gonna drill out the holes where we're gonna mount it. There's like 13 holes he's gonna drill out, so he's working on that right now. And then come over here, mount them on the car, and then he'll mount the front fenders later too. There's less work, I guess, to those ones. We just have, there's still holes you gotta drill on these, but the reason there's less work on these front fenders is you don't have to drill holes into the body for a nut zert. And I think I showed you guys what a nut zert is a while back. If you don't remember, ask me and I'll tell you again. But we're gonna, instead of rivet, we'll drill holes and then install nut zerts here, so then you can take it on and off with just hardware, metric hardware. Probably use M5 metric hardware. Okay, so we're back over here with Olas car. Rear overs are on. They're fitting pretty good. The back of this car is kind of bent pretty bad. Remember, we were straightening it, but looks like it fits good. This part right here had lots of fun damage, so that's the worst fitting part of everything, but we will do something there. And then flexi. First, before we drill wrong holes in that one, we are going through the process of putting on some of my old stuff from a couple years ago, and testing fitment, because like his bash bar was different, so we're seeing about if the bash bar allows us to kind of fit underneath there. It's kind of not in the right spot, but we're gonna make it work so we don't have to redo his bash bar. And then this used to connect to the fender, but like it had a tab that connected to the fender, but that's not gonna work with the, like now, to hold the hood and grab onto a fiberglass fender. It used to be a metal fender, so little things like that, we're gonna have to change that. We're gonna have to add a tab here probably, if possible, so it can grab there. But it looks like this side of the car will work okay. We're just gonna see what we have to modify before we, you know, drill too big of a hole or anything weird on like his new fender. So just do it right, you know, so it'll last. And then also the fenders have, like, when you put fiberglass stuff on, it always like moves a little bit, and then it doesn't, sometimes it won't let you open the door and close the door smoothly without like catching an edge. So, or I mean, if you installed it like real quick and rough, it would be like that. But we're gonna take our time and install it correctly so the through bolts on the bottom hold the fender in just the right spot so that there's clearance to open and close the door, and then make sure we can still connect to these tabs with the fender so it's nice and sturdy on there. And then on top of that, we have Jeff over here working on the exhaust manifold. Joe looks like he welded the V-band flange for our Turbo Smart Hypergate 45 on there, so that's good. That part's ready. And then Jeff is tightening this stuff down right now, so it looks like we're not going to be taking the exhaust manifold out again. And then this is his Borg Warner 8374 turbo. We're going to change downpipe like a little bit, because before he had a different exhaust manifold, so the turbo was in a different spot, so we're going to change the downpipe. And then next we're going to change, what is it? Oh, we got to make a new dump tube after we put that Hypergate back on. And then we're going to, on this side, probably either cut that and weld a 90, or we're going to see if we can get a coupler to work there on the exit of the turbo where the pressure side comes out. And then we got to modify that in intercooler piping on this side a little bit. So still got plenty of stuff to do. Jeff's gonna put new injectors in, the fuel rail back on, and that side of the intake manifold back on. And then we were gonna make new E85 lines for this car out of XRP hose, like PTFE braided hose, and some fittings, but I think that's not gonna happen today. We got so much other stuff to do, but that's on the list of stuff to do. And then we're gonna get the skirts from the body place from Herman, and I think tomorrow we'll have the skirts, so then probably end up doing that next week with the skirts and the bumper, mounting the actual ones, but we're test fitting these ones now. And then I would think next week we'll do a fuel cell and the fuel lines also. Well, making good progress today.